Greetings, my beloved Krystic family. This one's going to be short and sweet. Today, I want to speak on something that I don't think we address enough of in our spiritual communities, and that is true friendship. And this definitely ties into the Krystic path and the sacredness of true friendship on the Krystic path. And I'm talking about real, living, breathing, vulnerable, and accountable friendship. Not the surface level performative or temporary connection that sometimes social media often creates for us, but the Krystic, the true Krystic bond that is a part of our organic design. True friendship, especially on the spiritual path, is not something light or casual. It's a deep, living covenant of trust, vulnerability, and reciprocity. It's an energetic agreement that we walk together. Not just when it's convenient or when it's affirming, but also when the path calls for us to be honest, to hold each other in integrity, to mirror, not mimic, to correct lovingly, to redirect, and definitely to uplift. And it doesn't mean that if you are continuously doing that in a friendship that you should stay, because that's trauma bonding. So you have to understand when it's time to cut ties, to say, this is not an equal, balanced connection. So when you read through the Guardian materials and the CDT plates, the Guardians speak of grid work and planetary missions, and they emphasize that nothing is done in isolation. So if you are someone that is being guided to go and work with the grids, even if you believe you're on a solo mission, you will meet friends along the way, Krystic friends. And they may be friends for just whatever time you're in whatever country you've been guided to go to, or whatever town you've been guided to go to. But there is a communion happening that is on a deeper level. Our connections, especially with those who share similar soul lineage or mission frequency, it creates literal plasma bridges between fields. Friendships are not just about emotional ties. They're frequency links. They're meant to form parts of the living field. The architecture that stabilizes our capacity to hold Krystic flame. But like any structure, these connections must be maintained with purity, with transparency, and most importantly, consent. True friendship is vulnerable. It asks us to be seen without performance, stripped away. It also asks us to be accountable when we cause harm in that connection, and to have the courage to gently hold our friends when they are out of alignment. It's not about hierarchy or control, about competition and who's better and who's embodying the work more than the other. If you are looking at your friendships from that lens, if you're constantly in a state of competition with your friends, if you're constantly seeking validation because you are silently competing with your friends, that's an issue. Because this is about choosing to walk beside someone in truth, in care, in balance. And I want to make this Krystic clear. True friendship requires physical connection. I don't care how long you've been communicating with someone on social media or through email or on Zoom. It doesn't matter if your friends live across the world. If this is a true bond, there will be a point where you are going to want to see them, where you are going to want to sit across from them, face to face, to share space, to breathe in the same field, to allow your Krystic flames to stabilize in proximity. We were never meant to have purely virtual connections. So it may start out that way, but in order for you to call it friendship, there must be physical connection, beloveds. Because if you don't have that, that's not true Krystic friendship in its fullness. Your Merkaba fields, your flame bodies, your plasma streams align more fully through physical presence. The cells, the biospiritual fields, the etheric templates all respond to proximity. You will naturally want to plan trips, to meet, to commune, to sing, or to just be together. Even if it's infrequent. I'm not saying you got to go run off to Spain because that's where your soul sister or soul brother is every weekend, right? That's not realistic unless you can do that. There's so many other things going on in the day-to-day. But these types of relationships that you are building, it's essential to anchoring real friendship, to have physical connection. I want to be Krystic clear as well. True friendship also demands reciprocity and not keeping score, but both souls willing to show up. A one-way friendship, it depletes rather than nourishes. And because friendships are energetic and affect your plasma body, unresolved distortion, imbalance, or lack of integrity in these bonds can cause field fragmentation, leakage, and even inversion. And that's why, for me, my oversoul, the guardian hosts, are so Krystic clear that those who serve the Christ must be discerning about who they walk with. I've had to learn that the hard way, beloveds. It's imperative that you are mindful. And no one is perfect. So you're not seeking perfection. Be mindful when you're in your vulnerable states, who you're trusting, because unfortunately there are people that will come along and take advantage of those vulnerable moments. But again, look at the connection. Is it in balance? Is it at equal, a reciprocity, a give and take, and not in keeping score? Is this someone that holds me accountable and I hold them accountable? Look at the red flags. Look at the work that they are doing. Is this someone that is constantly spiritually bypassing, constantly mimicking, constantly pretending to be something that they are not? Or do you find yourself being more performative in front of them? Because that's not it either. It's not just pointing the fingers out and saying who's good enough for you. Are you in equal balance? I feel this conversation is so important to have, because many people claim friendship, but they don't realize the energetic responsibility that comes with that. It's not about always being available. It's not about always being real. It's about the true connections that you have. If you've been communicating with someone through Zoom, through social media, even through email and text for years, and you've never been face to face with them, that is not a friendship, beloveds. It's not. We've been, unfortunately, gaslit into believing that those are true friendships. They are not. Because you will want to be around your friends. You will want to see them. Even if you're the most introverted person. I'm very introverted for many reasons. But when it comes to my friendships, I want to see my friends. My friends and I do grid work together. My friends and I have very similar life experiences. We're going through a lot of the same things. We're walking side by side on the same path. And so, yeah, even if it's 2 or 3 times a year, or maybe just once a year, I see them. And when I see them, they're not trying to take advantage of me. If they are, they don't stay friends for very long. Because after a while, it becomes too much. On my physical, my framework, my body reacts to it. Tune into your body. If you're around someone and you feel drained when you leave them, that's not a true Krystic friendship. If even little by little, by being around them, every time you talk to them, it's a strain, or it's constantly them complaining or having an issue or whatever it is. And I'm not saying that you can't help your friends. You're meant to do that. We're never meant to do it alone. But if it's a constant strain, if every time and the only time they communicate with you, it's to get them out of a situation, then that's not an equal friendship, beloveds. That's someone taking advantage of not only your kindness, not only your abilities, but also your energy. It's a siphoning. It's a draining. We need to be really mindful. So I invite you, beloved, to reflect on what I'm saying to you, and not from a place of being malicious or being upset at anyone. Just generally speaking, look at your friendships. Who are you walking with? Who are you willing to show up for? Who holds you accountable in love? Who nourishes your field? And are you prepared to meet them in spirit, in the flesh? It's time for us to return. Return to true Krystic friendship as it was designed, not only as an emotional comfort, but as an eternal Krystic covenant. That's all for now, beloveds. I love you all so very much. 𝑬𝑬𝑨𝑰𝑵𝑮.